For more information, please visit us at www.blindcommunitythriftstore.com. Please stay tuned as our broadcast will start soon. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe on our YouTube channel now. At Blind Community Thrift Store on YouTube, and more info about this radio reading service, Navalins, and the Blind Community Thrift Store at www.blindcommunitythriftstore.com. The Blind Community Thrift Store radio reading service will begin shortly. We will be reading local news from around the Southwest Missouri area, Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. on YouTube, KSMU, and on the Audio Reader Network at Kansas University. For more information, please visit us at www.blindcommunitythriftstore.com. Please stay tuned as our broadcast will start soon. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe on our YouTube channel now. At Blind Community Thrift Store on YouTube, and more info about this radio reading service, Navalins, and the Blind Community Thrift Store at www.blindcommunitythriftstore.com. The Blind Community Thrift Store radio reading service will begin shortly. We will be reading local news from around the Southwest Missouri area, Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. on YouTube, KSMU, and on the Audio Reader Network at Kansas University. For more information, please visit us at www.blindcommunitythriftstore.com. Please stay tuned as our broadcast will start soon. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe on our YouTube channel now. At Blind Community Thrift Store on YouTube, and more info about this radio reading service, Navalins, and the Blind Community Thrift Store at www.blindcommunitythriftstore.com. The Blind Community Thrift Store radio reading service will begin shortly. We will be reading local news from around the Southwest Missouri area, Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. on YouTube, KSMU, and on the Audio Reader Network at Kansas University. For more information, please visit us at www.blindcommunitythriftstore.com. Please stay tuned as our broadcast will start soon. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe on our YouTube channel now. At Blind Community Thrift Store on YouTube, and more info about this radio reading service, Navalins, and the Blind Community Thrift Store at www.blindcommunitythriftstore.com. The Blind Community Thrift Store radio reading service will begin shortly. We will be reading local news from around the Southwest Missouri area, Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. on YouTube, KSMU, and on the Audio Reader Network at Kansas University. For more information, please visit us at www.blindcommunitythriftstore.com. Please stay tuned as our broadcast will start soon.
Thank you for tuning in to the Blind Community Thrift Store radio reading service. My name is Brandy, and I'm here with Matt. We invite you to listen to our broadcasts both live and on demand. Our live sessions are available on the Blind Community Thrift Store YouTube channel, Monday to Friday between 10 a.m. and 12 p.m. each week. Additionally, you can access on-demand content through the Audio Reader Network, which offers a wide range of audio materials for the visually impaired community. To explore content from the Audio Reader Network, please visit www.reader.ku.edu. The site provides details about accessing content via Amazon Alexa Audio Reader Network mobile app and information on receiving a radio to listen to the broadcast by KSMU Radio. All broadcasts are played over KSMU's subcarrier airwaves at 67 kilohertz on 91.1 from 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. Monday through Friday. Contact Audio Reader Network for information on receiving a pre-programmed radio.
I'll start from this People Daily Citizen. City Council places 4 amendments to Springfield City Council City Charter on November ballot. The amendments are intended to support the City Council's priority of operational excellence. Pat McGee there. See if I can find it. Just a second here. Okay. Springfield City Council on August 10th voted 8-0 with Councilmember Craig Hubsmer absent to approve the placement of 4 amendments to the Springfield City Charter on the November 3rd ballot. If considered by council members in April, hang on. Let me read that again. Okay. First considered by council members in April, the charter amendments are intended to support the city council's priority of operational excellence with the goal of improving clarity, efficiency, and there. If approved by voters, question 1, 2, 3, and 4 would clarify how certain duties are delegated within the municipality, remove the personal board from merit rule adoption processes, authorize the city council to establish a new purchasing framework and replace generated throughout the charter with neutral language, respectively. Although accompanied by a markup of existing charter language via exhibit and exhibit B, exhibit B, each amendment indicates that the proposed changes will be further detailed in an additional ordinance with one basically calling for future legislation. Charter Review Committee continues work. A Charter Review Committee organized by City Manager David Cameron and comprised city leadership developed the amendments during its first phase in review, which focused on the finance and personnel-related issues. Subsequent phases may yield additional charter amendments. City Attorney Jordan Paul, who chaired, who chaired the committee, said they were charged with identifying elements of the charter that impede their work on a somewhat regular basis, whether through special restriction or a lack of clarity. We had 3 or 4 meetings where we kind of worked through a specific focus on the finance and personnel provisions, and these were the 4 with amendments that emerged from that process. They were unanimously recommended, and we've kind of moved on to looking at other sections of the charter, Paul said. Only one individual, Kevin Mueller, spoke in opposition to the charter amendments being placed on the November ballot during the public hearing on the legislation, pointing to Missouri voters' resounding rejection of amendments 4 and 5 in the August 4th primary election. Mueller said the charter amendments deserve more scrutiny before Springfield voters are asked to consider them. The city charter is not an employee handbook. It is not an international policy manual or internal policy manual. It is Springfield's constitution, he said. It establishes who has authority, who is accountable, what safeguards exist, and which decisions ultimately belong to the people. Question 1. Currently, the city charter does not specify whether the city manager or department directors may delegate their charter signed responsibilities requiring the city to conduct a legal analysis of each duty to determine whether it can be delegated. There are literally dozens of powers, individual powers listed in the charter, Paul said. This generally creates an ambiguity because there is no consistent rule, and the analysis can change over time depending on the changing councils, changing city managers, changing city attorneys. Question 1 would expressly authorize the city manager and department directors to delegate charter assigned duties as they see fit. Read the ballot language, which I think maybe, yeah, here it is. Shall sections 3.1 and 3.3, 3.4, 4.2, and 6.5 of the Springfield City Charter be amended to expressly as authorize the city manager to delegate authority to perform charter assigned duties of the city manager to assist city managers, especially authorize the city manager to delegate the authority to appoint and remove employees to assistant city managers and department directors, and expressly authorize department directors to delegate the authority to perform charter assigned duties with the director to subordinate officers or employees within the department as more fully set forth in General Ordinance number. What in the world? I'm not sure what that is. It's got a weird symbol there. Not sure that doesn't any kind of number I recognize, because I'm not sure what that is. Paul emphasized the accountability would still reside with the city manager and department directors. Despite Paul's assurances, Mueller suggested that the accountability could become harder to trace when duties are delegated farther and farther down the organizational chart, and question whether Missouri law prohibited some duties from being delegated. For question 2, in effort to streamline the adoption of merit rules, the city is proposing question 2 to remove the personnel board's role in the process. Currently, the charter provides a 3-step process for merit rules, which pertain to policies and procedures governing city employees. The process begins with a recommendation from the Director of Human Resources, which is then reviewed by the Personnel Board before being forwarded to the City Council for formal consideration. According to the city, the board only reviews merit rules that do not have a financial impact, and the board has rarely rejected or modified such rules. Regardless of the financial impact of a proposed merit rule, question 2 would remove the board from the adoption process altogether. Instead, the city manager, after consultation with the director Human Resources would submit proposed merit rules directly to the City Council. Additionally, question 2 would eliminate really a requirement that application forms for city employees be approved by the Personnel Board, and instead requires such forms simply be prescribed by the Director of Human Resources. I read the ballot language. It says, shall sections 4.1, 4.2, or 6.2, 6.4, 6.6, 6.7, and 19.7 of the Springfield City Charter be amended to replace the current 3-step merit rule adoption process and a 2-step process that removes the Personnel Board from the process and authorize the Human Resources Director to approve application forms in lieu of the Personnel Board as more fully set forth in General Ordinance number that looks like L with a TH thing. I'm not quite sure what that's supposed to be. Sorry, people, I don't know what that's supposed to be there. Asked by City Council Member Monica Horton what purpose the Personnel Board would serve. Should voters approve question 2? Policy of the board primarily reviews employee disciplinary decisions and will continue to do so. In addition to considering merit system rules, the charter requires the Personnel Board to advise the City Council, City Manager, and Director of Human Resources on problems considering personal administration, conduct investigations concerning the administration of personnel in the city, and report its findings, conclusions, and recommendations to the City Council at least once a year. Hear appeals from disciplinary actions, perform other personnel administration related duties consistent with the charter and required by ordinance. Question 2 would have no effect on these duties. The reason the particular recommendations came out was because no one could remember the last time the Personnel Board reviewed a merit rule or an application form and made a change to it, Paul said. Mueller was unconvinced by the argument that the Personnel Board has rarely rejected or modified a merit rule. A safeguard does not become unnecessary simply because it is rarely used, Mueller said. We do not remove smoke detectors because the house is never burned down, and we do not eliminate audit simply because fraud has not yet been discovered. Question 3. In its current form, the charter provides for 2 different pathways for the procedures or purchasing of goods and services, according to Paul, differentiated by who handles the purchase. As procurement is centralized with the purchasing division of the city's finance department, challenges arise when the decisions in understated, overwhelmed, or at odds with the particular department. Historically, this ambiguity has occasionally escalated to the point of significant disagreement between different people, not here anymore, but reading historians' opinions this between different leaderships over the years with different opinions as to how exactly this groundwork is supposed to operate, Paul said. An explanation of the proposed amendments states that the charter was written when the city government was much smaller and it was anticipated that all purchasing would be processed through the purchasing department. Today, the city's operations are significantly larger and more complex, resulting in multiple procurement pathways depending on the type of purchase, the explanation reads. If approved, the question 3 would authorize the city council to create a purchasing framework by ordinance while ensuring that the comprehensive bidding requirements are maintained. The city manager would also be made default signatory on all purchase contracts. Read the ballot language. It says, shall sections 3.3 3 to 9, 5.3, 5.4, 10.4, 15.8, and 19.19, I think, of the Springfield City Charter be amended to authorize the City Council to fully establish purchasing by ordinance, including the organizational structure, thresholds, and types expressly designated through the city as the default signatory of purchasing and applying the existing comprehensive bidding requirement to additional purchase methods as more fully set forth in general ordinance. There's a number of things I can't figure out what that symbol is. Mueller expressed concern with allowing the city council to establish purchasing provisions by ordinance, which he emphasized could be changed by future councils without a public vote. Question 4 then. Finally, question 4 would generally replace gender-specific pronouns in the charter, which was adopted with language that exclusively refers to men with gender-neutral language. Paul said the city has already started using gender-neutral language in recent charter amendments. This would just be making them all at once with what's remaining in the charter, he said. Read the ballot language. It says, shall the Springfield City Council be amended generally to replace gendered pronouns and references with gender-neutral equivalents as more fully set forth in the general ordinance, that number thing that I don't know about, unfortunately. Is that? Oh, that is the end of that one. On to Brandy.
This is from the Springfield Daily Citizen. One person in custody after fatal shooting in West Springfield. One man is in custody and there is no ongoing threat to the public, according to the police, by Jackie Rewald. Police are investigating a fatal shooting that happened Sunday night, August 9th, in West Springfield. Officers responded to the report that a person was shot in the 2500 block of West Water Street just before 8 p.m. When officers arrived, they found Paxton Barnett, 32, from Springfield, with gunshot wounds. Barnett was transported to a local hospital where he died. Darvin Tallman, 36, from Springfield, was identified as a suspect. Deputies with the Greene County Sheriff's Office located Tillman and when he was arrested, according to a news release. Tillman is in the Greene County Jail as prosecutors review the case to determine whether charges will be filed. This is Springfield's 8th homicide investigation in 2026. And Springfield dad accused of intentionally shaking, striking, and dropping infant. The intentional and repeated nature of this conduct is particularly concerning, the prosecutor wrote, because it demonstrates a willingness to inflict extreme physical violence upon a victim who had no ability to resist, retreat, seek assistance, or protect himself. By Jackie Rewald. And a Springfield dad is in jail accused of intentionally shaking, striking, and dropping his 6-week-old infant face first onto a hardwood floor. The infant was transported to Cox South and later flown to St. Louis Children's Hospital, where medical staff found he had severe brain bleeding, significant brain swelling, retinal hemorrhages, multiple rib fractures, and injuries consistent with abusive head trauma, according to court documents. Kenai Kelly, 19, is charged with the Class B felony of child abuse. He was arrested and booked into the Greene County Jail on Friday, August 7th. The victim was only 6 weeks old at the time of the offense. At that age, the victim was entirely defenseless and wholly dependent upon the adults responsible for his care, for his safety, protection, and survival, the prosecutor wrote in a request for a warrant. The defendant was not a stranger to the victim. He was the victim's father and one of the very individuals upon whom this infant was dependent for protection. Instead, the defendant admittedly became the source of the danger, the prosecutor wrote. His conduct involved multiple intentional acts of violence, including shaking the victim, intentionally dropping him face first onto a hardwood floor, and repeatedly striking the victim in the head. According to the probable cause statement, police were notified on July 28th about a report of an infant who was lethargic and making grunting noises at a residence in Springfield. The victim was 5 weeks and 6 days old at the time. EMS personnel told the responding officer the infant had injuries consistent with shaken baby syndrome. After incident, baby seemed dead asleep. The officer interviewed the parents. According to the statement, Kelly initially denied hurting the baby, but later admitted he played too rough with the victim. Kelly allegedly admitted to striking the baby in the face using the baby's own hands, shaking the victim forcefully by the legs, and intentionally dropping the victim face first onto the hardwood floor from a height of a couple of feet. According to the statement, Kelly admitted he was angry at the time and acknowledged seeing abnormal bruising, but didn't call 911. Kelly allegedly described the victim to police as being dead asleep after the incident. According to the statement, medical personnel described the infant's injuries as life-threatening and required emergency neurosurgical intervention. Due to the delay in seeking medical care, the victim remained critically injured without intervention for an extended period, the officer wrote in the statement. In asking Kelly be held without bond, the prosecutor noted the victim's extreme vulnerability and Kelly's relationship and access to the infant. The prosecutor did not mince words in the request. The intentional and repeated nature of this conduct is particularly concerning because it demonstrates a willingness to inflict extreme physical violence upon a victim who had no ability to resist, retreat, seek assistance, or protect himself in any manner, the prosecutor wrote in part. The severity of those injuries demonstrates that the defendant's actions were capable of causing the death of his 6-week-old child. These circumstances demonstrate more than the seriousness of the charged offense, the prosecutor wrote. They demonstrate that the defendant is willing to inflict potentially lethal violence upon an extraordinarily vulnerable person who is entirely dependent upon him for protection. As of Monday afternoon, Kelly did not have an attorney listed as representing him in online court records.
Friends People Daily Citizen, new restaurant opening up, known as Sean Craft, brings Italian culinary hub to new downtown space. Second Business joins Chef Lorenzo Antigonio is the owner of Lorenzo's Italian Experience, which was just moved into a downtown Springfield building shared with Chef Sean Craft, owner of known as the Italian Place. Here, let me get. The building was formerly housed in the Wheelhouse. is now occupied by the well-known Springfield chef Sean Kraft, owner of known as Italian Cafe. Kraft signed the lease on 307 South Jefferson Avenue around February 2026, and it will be the primary location for the other business, Meals by Monica. Essentially, the chef needed a bigger kitchen to continue to, running both businesses, which were previously housed under one roof. Meals by Monica is a Springfield-based service where Kraft and his team prepare fresh, seasonal gourmet meals and deliver the meals straight to customers' homes. The business started in 2006, and Kraft purchased it a few years ago, according to previous Daily Citizen reporting. It's essentially a personal chef experience delivered weekly to your door, Kraft says. He focuses on unprocessed food and clean recipes. Coming along for the ride is Lorenzo Calagono, owner of what's Alfredo, I think it is, which is a good name, which is transitioning to the new name Lorenzo's Italian Experience. The company, known as an at-home private chef service, will rent space from Kraft for its headquarters, and it also plans Italian cooking classes and more. The two chefs have a strong relationship and will likely co-host events and dinners in the new space as well, Kraft said. Antigono said he was lucky to work out a way to lease some of the space from Kraft. His company is in the midst of a huge transition, including the rebrand, and the downtown space will be the first headquarters of Lorenzo's Italian Experience. It's been a huge opportunity for me and to kind of have my own little home base, Antigono said. The chef added that renting a fully equipped kitchen has saved him a lot in costs that he otherwise would have leased or purchased. Even with the savings from the lease agreement with Kraft, starting a brick and mortar has been a costly endeavor, Antigono said. I don't have an unlimited budget, he said. I'm trying to prioritize the right things to where I can get started and start welcoming people in, and then eventually add on to things. Lorenzo's Italian Experience will continue offering private at-home chef services, but with a new space, Antigono said he will add Italian cooking classes. Then there will be gourmet dinners offered by reservations only. Antigono, born and raised in Italy before moving to the U.S. as a high school exchange student in 2012, aims to officially launch the experience with a few events at the end of September. The Italian culinary experience business also plans to dip its toes into the world of serving family to go meals. I want to do like family meals, like a whole tray of lasagna, for example, Antogono said, and people can come in and they can pick up something. Antogono said even though his business will be completely separate from the crafts, the two chefs will likely hold some dinners together as they have done in the past, Antogono said, especially looking forward to days when the two can experiment in the kitchen together. We might still do some events together, but we also will use the kitchen to like play around, Antogono said. Like come in a day and make like a whole pork belly and roast just for fun. So by experimenting with new recipes. Let's see. Where is it? Oh, there it is. Okay. Kraft is also looking forward to the same thing. He says the two chefs together will have a little Italian kitchen laboratory on their hands. Kraft has owned Meals by Monica for about 3.5 years, and all that time it operated underneath Nona's. With renting the new downtown space, Kraft is also moving the business out out of the Nona's umbrella. It is transition with Meals by Monica, Kraft said. It was all just part of Nona's, and I've actually separated the businesses into two. That seems that article. On to Brandy again.
This is from the Springfield Daily Citizen. SPS hones in on literacy opportunities for students in the 2026-2027 school year. SPS Superintendent Granita Lathan highlighted a new district-wide literacy initiative and opportunity expansion for students in her annual State of the School speech by Zoe McIntyre. Springfield Public Schools is honing in on literacy at key grade levels with its new 417 Reads initiative this school year. Superintendent Granita Lathan announced the program during her annual State of the School speech Thursday, August 6th. Community movers and shakers gathered for the Springfield Area Chamber of Commerce's monthly Good Morning Springfield networking breakfast in the new gymnasium at Pipkin Middle School, which is officially opening for students later this month. Many attendees were eager to support students in the new reading program. Lathan said that 69% of fourth grade students in the U.S. are reading below grade level, and 2/3 of students who cannot read proficiently by the end of fourth grade will end up in jail or on welfare. These numbers are staggering and highlighting the reason we focus on literacy as a key opportunity at SPS, Lathan said. 417 Reads will impact 1,600 SPS third graders in the 2026-2027 school year if 75 people volunteer to be mentors through the program, Lathan said. She later announced that over 110 people at Good Morning Springfield had filled out volunteer interest forms on the spot. Mentors with 417 Reads will read aloud to third grade students once every month during the school year. Students will also receive sturdy boxes for books that can become small take-home libraries. The program, which is in partnership with Scholastic, may be expanded to serve fourth grade students if the district receives support from enough volunteers, Lathan said. In addition to Pipkin Middle, SPS is opening up another brand new facility for the 2026-2027 school year, Read Academy. The district is also getting started on a few other construction projects funded by the Proposition S that passed with strong support from voters in 2023. SPS broke ground on 2 construction projects this summer for the new Bissett Elementary and Pershing Middle Schools, and at 5:30 p.m. on August 6th, SPS will break ground on the new Bigham Elementary, marking the final construction project in a $220 million bond package approved by voters in 2023. Latham said SPS is keeping its promises by transforming our district learning environment and achieving it on time and on budget, thanks to residents' ongoing support of Proposition S. In addition to the emphasis on literacy with 417 reads, Latham shared 5 other focus areas the district will prioritize in the 2026-2027 school year: customer service for SPS parents, students, and other community members, opportunity expansion through more transportation opportunities and new outdoor pursuits for students, digital citizenship with a new comprehensive technology plan that will set a clear roadmap for digital tools, AI, and academic integrity in the classroom, a facility master plan update which will look ahead to the next decade, academics and workforce readiness programs, including partnerships with local businesses. Latham said transportation expansion is part of the district's focus on opportunities for students this year. SBS began a 3-year plan in 2025 to make its school bus system more efficient and responsive. We're further expanding our school busing capabilities so more students have reliable, safe access to specialized programs. Removing transportation barriers for students who attend choice programs is one more example of how SPS opens doors to opportunities, Latham said. The superintendent also highlighted the Outdoor Pursuits program, a semester-long opportunity launching in August for high school juniors and seniors. Participants from all 5 SPS high schools will be able to learn outdoor skills and potentially earn credentials, including safety-related certifications and hunting or fishing licenses. Through expanding access and visionary programs like Outdoor Pursuits, we're redefining what public education can look like, one student, one choice, and one opportunity at a time, Latham said. Back to Matt.
For the Springfield Daily Citizen again, Steve Pokin's Poking Around column, I think the latest one. Kind of a sad one. Usually he's got more information, but it's kind of a more serious one. Father says he was wrong to hire son, a sex offender, at Academy of Hair Design. Parents recently fired him. When they hired their son 3 years ago, they did not inform staff and students that he was on the sex offender registry for 2018 sexual assault on a woman. She was 20 and he was 21. The son has not been accused of any wrongdoing as an employee. That's the headline there. Get to the article. The unit of Academy in Hair Design on Glenstone Avenue say they blundered when they hired their son, who is on the Missouri Sex Offender Registry. They recently fired him. Oh, that's the photo. Okay, I thought I had the article. Now I do. It's marked as an opinion, so people know. David and Christine Gonzalez started the Academy of Hair Design 30 years ago. It was 3 years ago that they made their worst hiring decision. They hired their son, David Taylor Gonzalez. His job was to recruit students who are mostly young women. Okay. The business is at 1834 South Glenstone Avenue in the Plaza Shopping Center. What they didn't tell staff or Academy students is that their son is on the Missouri Sex Offender Registry. In 2020, he was found guilty of second-degree rape, a Class D felony, punishable by up to 7 years in prison. Instead, he was put on probation. We're parents, the father tells me. We wanted to give our son a job, but it doesn't absolve us for making a bad decision. It was a bad decision, and so 2 weeks ago, when it all came up, we held meetings with our students and our staff, and we listened to them. We paid attention to what was happening online, and they were right. It was a bad decision. So we took actions that so that they feel safe. They fired their son. We take total responsibility for what we did, he says. We have reformed our hiring procedures. So we're changing that. We're tightening our computer and security safety. The owners on July 29th posted on Facebook that they had returned from action and immediately met with students and staff over their concerns about their son's employment at the Academy of Hair Design. A year ago, there had been complaints that they had hired a sex offender, their son. That's when parents changed his job so that he worked remotely. Some complaints: the son working remotely had access to personal information. Was the next part. Many criticized the owners. July post saying they took too long in firing their son. They pointed out that even in his off-site job, he had access to personal information on the applications. Many of those applications were from young women. The father tells me his son did nothing inappropriate. Inappropriate while an employee. Okay. Public records now show no criminal charges other than a June 23rd citation for failing to display annual registration tags. A spokesperson for the Springfield Police Department said the agency is not investigating any reports related to David Taylor Gonzalez conducting or conduct while employed at the business. And the voluminous comments on the owner's Facebook post, more than 2,300 as of Monday afternoon. It's a lot of posts. There is no allegation that the son did anything inappropriate as an employee. The Springfield Daily Citizen reached out to 10 people who were critical of the parents' July 29th letter on Facebook. 3 responded. One requested anonymity, which I refused to grant, pointing out that she already had commented by name on Facebook. 2 others declined comment, and 7 did not respond. The honest answer is that we are his parents, and we believed we could give our son a job, was the next part of the article. In that July letter, the parents state, we removed him from on-site recruiting and moved him to a remote office, and he addressed it openly with our staff and students at the time. At the time, we believed those steps appropriately address the situation. This week, our students told us they did not, and they were right. I asked the father if he and his wife informed students and employees of their son's criminal history when he was first hired. We did not, he says. The July 29th letter further states, we also owe everybody an answer to a fair question why we hired him in the first place. The honest answer is that we are his parents and we believed we could give our son a job while keeping the school the safe place our students deserve. Our students never signed up to carry that decision, and it was not fair to ask them to. We were wrong, and it was not fair. Hiring him was our mistake, and we are sorry. Father says of his son's crime, that's his journey to walk. I reached out to the son, who is now 29, married, and a father. I left a business card on his door. He did not respond. The father says that's his journey to walk. He's rebuilding his life, and he is married and does have children. He's a really good dad. He's trying to be a contributing member of society and do good. I know that's hard for many people, and we get it. He's trying to make a living to support his family, which is not an easy thing to do. Given his past. The father estimates the Academy of Hair Design has trained 5,000 students over its 30 years in business since he started the company with his wife. They're all over Springfield, and we have a history as a company of doing the right thing, he said. In this case, we didn't, but we're committed to doing the next right thing. Off of online court records, but still, the sex offender registry back in 2020, Greene County Circuit Judge Calvin Holden found Gonzalez guilty of second-degree rape, sodomy, and sexual abuse following It has disconnected from something. Hang on a second. Let me get back there. Okay, here we go. Maybe let's see what's going on. Okay. What is this? This is not what I want. Hold on, guys. Just a sec. I'm not in the right place. Okay. There. Hopefully. Maybe. Am I? Okay, here we go. Okay, here we go. Okay. Rape and sodomy and sexual abuse following a bench trial. Holden sentenced Gonzalez to 5 years probation and a suspended imposition of sentence. Gonzalez successfully completed his probation, so there is no record of a conviction which has not been imposed, and no record on the online database of Missouri courts that he was ever charged. David Taylor Gonzalez remains on the sex offender registry. The assault occurred on January 8th, 2018. Gonzalez was 21 and other victim was 20. According to a story in the Springfield News Leader, the victim let Gonzalez stay the night at her home in January 2018 because he was intoxicated. He then forced himself on her. The story says, months later, the woman called Gonzalez during a recorded conversation that law enforcement refers to as a cold call. During the conversation, Gonzalez apologized and said, I raped you, according to a court document. Gonzalez was represented by defense attorney Devesanese and DeWampler, who died in 2021 at age 81. This is Steve Pogan's column number 367, and that's the end of that one. On to Brandy again.
Springfield Daily Citizen, group alarmed by overcrowding at Greene County Jail as ICE holds increase. On Monday, the number of people in the Greene County Jail exceeded what GCSO leaders said the jail's capacity was when it opened, by Zoe McIntyre. Springfield area activists have tracked a new record number of federal inmates being held for immigration violations in the Greene County Jail. On August 10th, the overall number of people in the jail was greater than the number of available beds, according to a press release from the Southern Missouri Immigration Alliance, SMIA. On many days, ICE detainees represent about a third of the jail's population. Deputy Jonah Beatles, spokesperson for the Greene County Sheriff's Office, GCSO, confirmed that there are 1,254 people in the jail, including 413 ICE detainees as of Monday. The county built the new jail in 2022 with a capacity of up to 1,242 inmates. GCSO has an intergovernmental agreement with the U.S. Marshals Service and ICE, allowing the jail to house federal inmates, including ICE detainees. The contract estimates that the jail has 375 beds available for federal inmates, according to previous reporting by the Daily Citizen. This is not the first time they have broken the number of estimated beds in the contract, but it is the first time we have seen that the total jail population exceeds capacity of the facility, SMIA stated in the press release titled Greene County Jail Overcrowding. Missouri law requires a county sheriff to receive into his custody any prisoner or prisoners who may be from time to time committed to his charge under authority of the United States, and to safely keep every such prisoner or prisoners according to the warrant or receipt of such commitment until he or they shall be discharged by due course of law of the United States. What happens to inmates in crowded cells? In late July, the Daily Citizen asked Beatles whether certain pods in the jail ever contain more inmates than beds, referencing data local activists had compiled from the jail roster that appeared to show crowding in some cells housing ICE detainees. Beatles provided the following statement via email on July 23rd. At times, a housing unit may temporarily hold more inmates than the number of permanent beds available. In those situations, each affected inmate is provided with a cot-style bed and mattress. While our overall facility is equipped to house the number of inmates you're aware of, not all housing units are considered general population. We operate several special housing units, and classification factors, such as medical needs, security concerns, or gang affiliations, can limit our ability to distribute inmates evenly throughout the facility. It's also important to note that a housing unit with a higher than normal count is not a permanent condition. These numbers change frequently as our inmate population fluctuates. Additionally, the public inmate roster you referenced may occasionally have a slight delay in updating, which can lead to temporary discrepancies. The Greene County Jail's online roster previously displayed which cell each inmate was housed in. GCSO apparently stopped reporting this information on the public jail tracker following the Daily Citizen's inquiry in late July. Activists severely concerned with jail conditions. We are severely concerned with the conditions inside Greene County Jail, SMI President Dominique Moore stated in a press release. According to SMIA, 392 of the ICE detainees in the jail on August 10th were men. Because of this, we assume that overcrowding is even worse on the men's side of the jail than the numbers may reflect. SMIA also said the organization is also concerned ICE detainees are not always afforded rights to due process. Local activists have tried to pressure GCSO into allowing stakeholder visits for community members to check on jail conditions and visit ICE detainees.
Given Springfield Daily Citizen, Sparta resident accused of murdering man who refused to sell him a car in 1997. As editor's note, this story was updated with additional information after the Christian County Sheriff's Office shared a press release on August 10th. A Sparta man is facing a charge of first-degree murder for allegedly shooting a man who refused to sell him a Camaro nearly 30 years ago. James Deckard, 47, was indicted on a charge of first-degree murder by a grand jury in Christian County last week, according to a publicly available court document. Document's decision is okay. Documents. Deckard is suspected of shooting and killing a man with the initials JH on or about November 18th, 1997. He allegedly shot the victim in the face with a shotgun. In a press release on August 10th, the Christian County Sheriff's Office confirmed that Deckard was arrested in connection to the killing of Jordan Jack Hirsch, a 62-year-old farmer who was found dead in his own garage in November 1997. Two friends of Hirsch visited his residence in Bruner to look at a red Camaro Z28 he was selling and discovered he had been shot in the face, according to a November 19th, 1997 story from the Springfield News Leader. While no outcome can erase the loss suffered by Mr. Hirsch's family and loved ones, we hope this announcement provides them with a measure of closure, Sheriff Brad Cole said in a press release. This case is a testament to the dedication of the investigators who worked tirelessly over the years and to the commitment that cold cases are never forgotten. Detectives with the Christian County Sheriff's Office conducted a comprehensive review of the case and re-examined evidence in 2025, leading to additional investigative work. According to the release, who was Jack Hirsch? Hirsch lived alone, raising beef cattle and selling cars and farm equipment from his home on Route 14. He was a good guy who would do anything for anybody. He had no enemies. Neighbor Paul Coffees, as it told a Springfield News Leader report on November 19th, 1997. It was Coffey's daughter and son-in-law who discovered Hirsch's body, who is James Deckard. Deckard has been convicted of several felonies in Christian County dating back to the late 1990s. According to online court records, these convictions include stealing a motor vehicle, forgery, and child molestation. He is a registered sex offender, according to the Missouri State Highway Patrol's site. He abused an 11-year-old girl who is 25, or who was 25 in 2004, I guess. Deckard was charged in 2022 with the Class D felony failing to register as a sex offender in Christian County. Defendant is a danger to the community, as evidenced by his prior criminal history and the serious nature of these charges. Prosecuting attorney Kristen Dury wrote in her request for warrant. Deckard was not listed on the Christian County jail's inmate roster on Monday morning, although online court filings indicate that he was served an arrest warrant on August 7th. Prosecutors requested that he be held without bond. An arraignment for Deckard is scheduled for August 11th in Christian County, so today. Details from newspaper reports. The South Central Missouri Major Case Squad initially took up the investigation of Hirsch's death, looking at more than 80 initial leads in 7 days before referring the case to the Christian County Sheriff's Office and Missouri State Highway Patrol, according to a November 25th, 1997 story from the Springfield News Leader. Immediately after the killing, investigators told newspaper reporters that they were confident that the killer would soon be behind bars, but the Major Case Squad's initial week-long probe turned up no arrests and no principal suspects. On the 1-year anniversary of Hirsch's killing, then Sheriff Steve Whitney told the News Leader we've got a strong suspect, but we just cannot get enough evidence to go to court. There were 8 unsolved disappearances and homicides in Christian County between 1967 and 1997. The News Leader reported. Last week, the Christian County Sheriff's Office announced that the work of 2 detectives had led to indictment and arrest in one of those cold cases, the 1988 murder of Ronna Brewer in Ozark. Sources, Christian County and fatally shot, I guess was the headline. Springfield News Leader, November 1997. And then, was it any other sources? 1-year anniversary reached in unsolved murder. Where'd it go? Come back. No, it just gives the article sources. Let's go to Brandy then. But you can go look at those on the site if you'd like to see the articles.
Springfield Daily Citizen photos 12-year-old showcases family cattle at Ozark Empire Fair Junior Show by Jim Wilson. There's a picture of a young blonde-haired girl with her hair in a braid down her back and a electric blue shirt and blue jeans and boots, hanging onto the leash or the lead for her half-ton Hereford heifer Helen, as the pair of them wait to enter the arena at the Ozark Empire Fair on Friday, July 31st. Harper Johansson, 12 of Lebanon, showed 2 Charolais and 2 Hereford beef heifers at the Ozark Empire Fair's junior show on Friday, July 31st, 2026. Daily Citizen photographer Jim Wilson captured Johansson putting in the hard work preparing for the show the night before and the morning of, with mother Jamie, father Kevin, sister Ivy, and the family farm's hired hand Mason Doing. Our agriculture shows have been the cornerstone of the Ozark Empire Fair since its inception about 9 decades ago. Running from July 30th to August 8th, the fair will draw thousands of visitors from across the region. It's 100% a family effort, said Jamie Johansson. One person couldn't do all this. Harper brushes out heifer Helen while her father Kevin Johansson trims Bertha's tail, and Mason Doing continues drying the hair. Photo by Jim Wilson. While tending to the family heifers is a passion for Harper, the young girl has many passions away from the farm, her father Kevin Johansson said proudly. At Lebanon Middle School, she plays trumpet and band, plays soccer and basketball, and is on the student council. Harper is active in the White Oak Church Youth Group. In her spare time, she has been building a Lego model of the World Cup trophy. She has to be challenged or she'll check out, Kevin Johansson said. Harper took home a number of awards from the show, including the Junior Hertzman Award and the Charolais breed, showing the very advanced 12-year-old's grit. That award is given to exhibitors that display hard work ethic in the barns. Watch the scenes unfold as Harper herds herself, her family, and the heifers to walk through the arena entrance together for the big show. Harper Johansson, 12, and left, and Mason Doing, 20, groom one of the 4 cows from Harper's family's farm that they brought to show at the Ozark Empire Fair Junior Show. Doing works for the Johanssons as a hired hand. She showed livestock in the past and says of Harper, for her age, she's very advanced, very smart. She's like my little sister. Photo by Jim Wilson. Harper Johansson leads one of her family's Charolais heifers to the outdoor bedding area for the night on the Ozark Empire Fairgrounds, Thursday, July 30th, 2026. And Harper Johansson demonstrates why farm kids don't need yoga as she washes the underside of one of her Hereford heifers early Friday morning, July 31st, 2026. Having begun showing livestock at age 6, she says, I was born into it. And she leads Helen, her 14-month-old Hereford, through one of the heifer's barns after bathing the cow early Friday morning, July 31st. Harper applies a combination insect repellent and coat gloss to Bertha, her other Hereford. Exhibitors are only allowed to wash, blow dry, and brush their cows for a no-fit show. Harper Johansson carries 2 feed buckets to her cows early Friday morning. The heifers get slightly larger meals on show days to help fill out their shape. There's nothing glamorous about some of the business of showing heifers. 12-year-old Harper is already thinking about becoming a large animal vet, specifically to study embryo transfer sciences. Her family's herds are being rebuilt through embryo transfer and artificial insemination. At 7:20 Friday morning, Harper Johansson had already been preparing her cows for showing with her father and their hired hand for nearly 2.5 hours. The night before, she had promised, I'm drinking 2 Dr. Peppers because of the early start. And it shows her properly drying a cow's hair, and it brings out the attributes of the animal's shape. Harper's mother, Jamie Johansson, remembers, I grew up showing at the Ozark Empire Fair when I was 8. The family farm that her great-grandparents started is still in the family and is Missouri Century Farm. Attention junior exhibitors, we will begin our exhibit in about 15 minutes. Sounds over the PA. Everyone gets involved in readying the 2 Herefords that Harper Johansson will bring into the ring representing J.D. Bellis family Herefords. And back to Matt.
Okay, from Springfield Daily Citizen then. We can find it here. It is. Bookkeeper accused of stealing $40,000 from Springfield Rental Center. I think it's Ryan Collins did this one. Yeah, Ryan Collins, yep. A Nixa woman has been charged for allegedly stealing more than $40,000 from her employer, including making fraudulent checks and forging signatures. Tracy Dean of Nixa was charged with 1 count of stealing $25,000 or more than a Class C felony, and 9 counts of forgery, a Class D felony, according to online court records. A criminal summons was issued to Dean on August 7th, 2026. Dean was employed as a bookkeeper at Rental Center located at 5117 South Campbell Avenue in Springfield from August 2022 until her resignation in September 2024, according to court records. The company owner said that upon Dean's resignation, an audit revealed unauthorized checks written to Dean and unauthorized Dean payroll amounts, according to court documents. According to a probable cause statement written by an officer of the Springfield Police Department, the store owner found 43 checks payable to Dean that he alleges were fraudulent and contained forged signatures purporting to be his own. The checks were dated between December 2022 and September 2024 and totaled just over $40,000. The store owner provided copies of all alleged fraudulent checks and later provided records allegedly showing that all checks were drawn from General Rental's business account, and the majority were cashed at Walmart, according to court records. Walmart Global investigations allegedly showed the majority of checks were cashed by Dean. A subpoena to Chime, an online banking company, produced records showing an account registered to Dean confirmed matching deposit amounts to Walmart, according to court documents. In July 2025, Dean voluntarily appeared at SPD facilities for an interview in which she allegedly called the accusations baloney. When asked about the fraudulent checks, court documents allege that Dean declined to answer and said she needed an attorney. At the end of the July 2025 interview, the SPD court documents allege that Dean said she hated the store owner with a passion. Evidence in the case included online individual checks allegedly forged from January to June 2024. According to the court documents, Dean's initial appearance in front of Judge Josephine Stockard is scheduled for September 28th. As of August 7th, online court records did not show. Dean had hired an attorney to represent her in this case. Dean was found guilty for 2 prior felonies related to the separate charges for possession of a controlled substance in 2024 or 2014 and in 2021, according to court documents. Because Dean is a prior and persistent offender, she faces a steeper range of punishment if convicted of these new charges. For the 9 counts of forgery, the range of punishment is 3 to 10 years imprisonment or a fine not to exceed $10,000 or both, according to court documents. For the count of stealing, the range includes 5 to 15 years imprisonment. And as you know, that went on to Brady.
This is from the Springfield Daily Citizen. Mexican Villa celebrates 75 years of serving Springfield-style Mexican food by Juliana Goodwin. One family, 3 generations, 75 years of serving Springfield-style Mexican food. Welcome to Mexican Villa, a local legend. The Springfield staple will celebrate its 75th anniversary in September. We are 100% uniquely Springfield, said owner Garen Ferguson. We are not authentic Mexican or Tex-Mex or California style. You can't get this in Dallas, Denver, or San Antonio. We're unique to Springfield, much like cashew chicken. Ferguson is named after his grandfather, Garen Ferguson, who started the restaurant in 1951 after returning from World War II. During his time in the Army, Garen was stationed in San Antonio and fell in love with Mexican food. What he created was inspired by Mexican food to fit an Ozarks palate, said Ferguson. Today there are 7 locations, with 6 in Springfield and 1 in Ozark. 4 are full service and 3 are counter service restaurants. They grind 2 tons of Iowa corn each week to produce their own tortillas and chips at a factory on West Division Street. The restaurant also has a line of signature sauces, sweet, mild, and hot, which is sold in 120 stores in several states and ships nationwide. Ferguson said the restaurant has even shipped the sauces overseas because international students will come to Springfield and get a taste of the sauce and order it when they go back to their home country. Mexican Villa's mild sauce was developed as a burrito sauce. The sweet sauce goes into tacos. Back in the day, customers started dipping chips in the sauces, and the sauces alone developed a following. These sauces are not traditional sauces, but are recipes that were developed more than 70 years ago. The original location is on South National and was built in 1928 as a restaurant. This was before the Ferguson family ever owned it. It closed during the Great Depression and then reopened as several versions of a barbecue joint. In 1951, his grandpa opened it as Pig and Bun. He was a foodie of the 40s, said Ferguson. Grandpa started dabbling in Mexican food and adding items to the menu. In 1954, he moved to where Jim's Steakhouse is today on Glenstone Avenue because the area was being developed and he followed the development. He opened Old Mexico, which was Springfield's first takeout restaurant. In the meantime, he leased his National Avenue building to an Italian place. But his move was too soon and he closed that location. So when the owner of the Italian Villa vacated in 1962, Garen was frugal and decided he could salvage the Villa part of the sign. He called the sign company and changed Italian to Mexican, and Mexican Villa was born. One of his buddies from Texas moved to Springfield to teach him how to make Mexican food, and they adapted the recipes for local tastes. The following year, El Taco opened on Kearney as the company's second location. During all of this, Guerin operated a crop dusting business. He bought a surplus fleet of planes from the government and turned them into crop dusters. He had 12 planes and 9 pilots and worked all the way down in Tunica, Mississippi. That business kept the restaurant afloat for years because it wasn't profitable. Back home, his wife Betty ran the restaurants, was the cook, baked pies, and raised 4 kids. Betty was instrumental in the success, Ferguson said. She could get it done. He also remembered his grandmother as gentle and kind. As the restaurant expanded, their children pitched in and eventually became the second generation of owners. Ferguson started working in the restaurant when he was 10. At 14, he was busting tables. As a teen, he and a buddy would mow the lawns of the restaurant and get to eat lunch and dinner for free. When you own one of Springfield's most famous restaurants, everyone asks you to bring chips and queso to every party, and that began back when he was a kid and continues today. Ferguson got a business degree and then, like his grandfather and father, enlisted in the military. He joined the Navy and was deployed for Iraqi freedom, but also helped with aid relief after the 2004 Asian tsunami. Ferguson returned to Springfield and worked in a bank, but was drawn to the restaurant. He wasn't used to a desk job, he said, and he longed for the chaos that restaurants bring. In 2012, he bought out the second generation of Fergusons who owned Mexican Villa and took over. His dad still owns a quarter of the business. Just as he worked in the restaurant growing up, Ferguson has 14-year-old twins who help with catering. Although Springfield wasn't ready for Mexican food in the 1950s, the city hungers for it now. He's added menu items that reflect this, such as quesadillas, build-your-own bowls, and chimichangas. But even though they have added some items, they stay true to original recipes and are not trying to be something they're not, Ferguson said. Mexican Villa isn't just a tradition, it's a big employer in the Springfield region. They employ 180 people, and many have decades of service to the restaurant, which is highly unusual in the industry, Ferguson said. That is something else unique about Mexican Villas. They know their customers, and customers know the staff. It's part of the fabric of Springfield now, Ferguson said. He's proud of what his family has built and plans to have a celebration in September to celebrate the restaurant's 75th anniversary, but said he hasn't finalized the date and details yet. After 75 years of signature sauces, Ferguson has decided to launch a modern salsa, something more commonly found at Mexican restaurants. They've developed a product he's proud of, and it will be released soon, exact date to be determined. I know we lose some new customers because they come here expecting salsa, he said. Soon they will get it. Recently, a gentleman came into the original building on National Avenue and looked around. Ferguson initially thought he was a new customer because the man was taking it all in. He said, "It hasn't changed much," Ferguson said. He graduated in 1984 from Southwest Missouri State University, now Missouri State, and hadn't been back. When I think of how much this world has changed, there are very few places you can go back and have the same experiences. There's still the same jukebox, colorful tables, original wood paneling, and black and white photos of the founders, Guerin and Betty Ferguson, on the wall. Sometimes people new to the area come in thinking this is authentic Mexican and complain that it's not. But Ferguson says that's not what the restaurant is about. We are a tradition, and we are 100% authentic Springfield Mexican food, he said. Embrace us for what we are.
Ben Springfield Daily Citizen, a Springfield man who attempted to buy University Heights home with forged checks, sentenced to prison. The Springfield man who attempted to buy a $450,000 home in the University Heights neighborhood last year with a fraudulent check admitted to has his crimes, okay, and was sentenced to prison this week. On Monday, August 3rd, Perry Morris or something, 46, pleaded guilty to 2 counts of forgery and 1 count of aggravated fleeing, all Class D felonies. As part of the plea agreement, the prosecutor dropped 6 forgery charges and 1 count of attempted stealing. In accordance with that agreement, Judge Jerry Harmson sentenced Edmund to 7 years in prison for each charge, with those sentences to be served concurrently. Heisman described in court documents as a career criminal with extensive history of fraud, spending 46 years provided fraudulent cashier check in 2024 for the $450,000 to try to purchase a home located at 806 East Linwood Street. He was charged with more crimes while on bond as the next part. Well, he was out on bond in the fraudulent $42,000 check case. Has been racked up more charges. Court documents show a Greene County assistant prosecutor filed a motion to arrest Heisman on June 1st and charged him in another case of forgery. According to a probable cause statement for the more recent forgery charge, Heisman got his 2017 Audi to what in the heck? Essex Import Services in Republic for a scheduled service appointment on March 23rd. Has been returned to Autrux on March 27th and allegedly presented a check from Cade's Bank for $1.99 or $1,000 for to pay for repairs to the vehicle. And has been attempted to deposit the check. It was returned with the following information as locate account or whatever. Inventory of the Republic Police Department contacted Cade's Bank and was told Heisman did not have an account there and the check was worth nothing. A search of online court records revealed Heisman was also charged in January with a Class E felony for passing a bad check in Christian County. Though the probable cause statement for this charge does not contain much information about what investigators believe happened, it states that Heisman wrote a check for $96 to Exclusive Auto in Ozark. According to the Christian County probable cause statement, the check was returned from the bank marked unable to locate. Then he attempted to flee from police as the next part. With 2 felony warrants for his arrest, has been attempted to flee from a Springfield police officer on June 16th, according to court documents. According to the probable cause statement written by the officer, Heisman drove his black Audi off at high speed and when officers attempted to stop him. The officer spotted Heisman's Audi parked in a driveway and observed Heisman walking away from the car. The officer told Heisman to stop, but he has been continued to walk toward the residence. When the officer attempted to put Heisman in handcuffs, he tensed up and pulled away. He was eventually taken into custody and booked into the Greene County Jail. An extensive criminal history. In court filings, Assistant Greene County prosecutor Kimberly Bully wrote that Hyman has an extensive criminal history of fraud with not just state but federal convictions spanning 46 years. The prosecutor then listed Heisman's convictions, which began in 1979 with passing a bad check. He's also been convicted numerous times for forgery and fraudulent illegal use of credit cards. In 2019, he was convicted of misappropriation of funds of elderly nursing home residents. Heisman has also been remanded to the Department of Corrections numerous times. The prosecutor wrote, as Heisman was let out of the courtroom Monday, defense attorney John Peacock patted him on the back and said, "Take care of yourself, Terry." And that is, the end of that one, I think. Looks like. On to Brandy again.
This is from the Springfield Daily Citizen. Clock tower goes up at Ozark Tech's new student union by Joe Hadsel. A new structured shadow will mark time like a sundial across the Ozarks Technical Community College campus, similar to the faces of its 3 clocks. Last month, workers installed the Judy and Mike Breeding clock tower near the Michael L. Parsons Student Union. The tower is part of the David and Stacy O'Reilly Auto Parts Plaza, an area that will serve as a gathering space with seating and green space. The clock tower, assembled as one piece, was hoisted into place on July 30th using 2 cranes, according to a post from the college's Facebook page. Designed by Dake Wells Architecture, it was made at Trinity Companies USA in Rogersville, using about 20 tons of stainless steel. Several Ozarks Tech alumni were involved in its creation, according to the post. The clock tower will be available for a close-up inspection during a grand opening and ribbon-cutting ceremony for the Parsons Student Union. The event has been set up for 1 p.m. Wednesday, August 12th at the Springfield campus, located at Chestnut Expressway and Sherman Avenue. Former Governor Michael Parson will attend the ceremony, according to a press release. It was named for him in recognition of his efforts while governor to secure $46 million in state funds for the building. Afterward, tours of the building will be given. The new student union includes food court, library, writing center, fitness center, bookstore, and more. The new building, shorthanded as the U, completes a design plan for making the Springfield campus more inviting and friendly for students. The development of a new strategic plan has begun at the college. Building Our Future Together is at a preliminary phase, where members of the public are asked to give feedback about the college's direction and answer the question, what should Ozarks Tech do next to best support and strengthen the region? The college has been taking suggestions at a booth at the Ozark Empire Fair. Open houses are set for the Republic Education Center on August 11th, the Springfield campus on August 19th, and the Richwood Valley campus on August 26th. Feedback can also be submitted online.
Just a sec here. Give it speak with the citizen. Kind of from Saturday, but we didn't read Monday. We'll read it anyway. Water main break causes discolored water in northeast Springfield. City Utility says a water main break Saturday, August 8th near Glenstone Avenue and Blaine, I believe, Blaine Street, caused cloudy or discolored water for customers in northeast Springfield. CU says the water is safe to drink and no boil advisory has been issued. The utility company recommends customers experiencing cloudy water flush their faucets for 10 to 15 minutes if the water doesn't clear up. Customers are asked to call CU at 417-863-9000. Crews spent Saturday flushing water in the affected portions of the system to help remove discoloration. I guess that's it because I can't seem to get any more of the article. I'll to Brandy, I guess, for now.
This is from 417 Magazine. Lead Mine, Missouri, a Mennonite community near Tunis, by Alyssa Roney. Where I was raised in central Missouri, we have a word for driving out to Mennonite country to make our money stretch with bulk groceries and fresh baked goods, dudgeon. And it's become a pastime for my family, the perfect way to spend a free Saturday afternoon as they catch up with the local who's who. That's why Lead Mine feels all too familiar. Each stop provides a glimpse into the community's beating heart, the endless dedication of its employees masked only by swinging doors into kitchens and stockrooms. Lead Mine falls within the Tunis Township, about an hour's drive from Springfield. It is named for a nearby lead mine abandoned in the late 19th century, predating the Stafford Mennonites that settled in the area around 1969. For the trek, I recommend setting aside a few hours to get the full experience and checking store hours ahead of time. Additionally, most stores accept cash or check only, so be sure to visit an ATM beforehand. One of my first stops was Meadowview Dutch Market, which carries groceries, including surplus and scratch and dent goods, alongside bulk candies, dried fruits, and nut mixes. Two big upsides for the store, besides its inflation-friendly prices, are its long hours Monday through Saturday and its card reader, a rarity in the community. Plus, it has some of the most affordable local eats with made-to-order deli sandwiches. If you are looking for a decadent from-scratch treat, there is no better place in the area than Ozark Wind's Bake Shop, a cozy bake shop inside a big cabin that smells just as divine as you think it would. Its shelves are fully stocked with a gorgeous assortment of baked goods that include personal fruit pies, whoopie pies, danishes, cookies, and bread. I had their single-serving German chocolate cake, which was fresh and moist and made me want to return to the store for more. Wenger's Greenhouse and Nursery is one of two greenhouses in the area, and it has been family-run for over 20 years, with most plants being grown on the property. They will open for autumn around Labor Day, with hours being 8 a.m. to 6 p.m., Monday through Saturday. They are a hot spot for mums during this time, alongside other fall plants like pumpkins and shrubs. Another spot to buy mums is the Lead Mine Country Store, where you can also purchase books, cast iron, kitchen utensils, and locally made gifts. My favorite part of the store was the free roaming cats and peacocks outside. The electricity-free store is owned by Dwayne and Julia Bowman, who also run the neighboring restaurant, Cafe Edelweiss. Essen und Trinken. Cafe Edelweiss serves up authentic Bavarian food to slamming crowds. Running from mid-March to December, the restaurant is only open for lunch, 11 a.m. to 2:30 p.m. Monday through Saturday. As a vegetarian, I was pleasantly surprised to find suitable lunch options on the menu, including a Chipotle black bean burger and an Impossible burger. These were several alongside German staples that I ate on a previous trip to Swabian, Germany, including Kraut Äpfel salad, a warm potato salad, and of course Bavarian-style Brezeln. The atmosphere is akin to a typical country diner experience, except for the hissing of the electricity-free mechanical ceiling fan and the movement of the dozens of vibrant cuckoo clocks on the walls. Miss the early bird crowd at the restaurant by swinging by around noon rather than right at 11. If you're looking for a pick-me-up, Cafe Edelweiss serves up iced coffees, as does Ozark Coffee Bin, a nearby cozy cafe nestled inside a repurposed grain silo. It is a great place to get both Wi-Fi, which is hard to come by in Mennonite country, and indulgent coffee shop favorites. I tried their salted caramel frappe, one of their most popular items, which is smoother than most blended frappes I've had, and the perfect amount of sweet, just like the cafe's employees. Get into nature. For a rugged outdoor experience, Leadvine Conservation Area is just the place, with spots for primitive tent camping and trails for hiking, biking, and horseback riding. The area also provides about 2 miles of Niagara River frontage and access to Jake's Creek. Expect to see tons of wildlife, including deer, turkeys, squirrels, and rabbits within the nearly 8,000-acre area. While in-season hunting is permitted for all major game species, fishing opportunities are limited.
From Springfield Daily Citizen, how citizen scientists make a difference in southeast West Missouri. Okay. It's an in-depth thing. Richard Herman has learned to listen first. Then when he hears the buzzing, he looks for the bumblebees. I can tell the difference in just all of these bees by noise. Anyhow, that's how I find them, he says, stopping next to one of the fenced gardens on his 30-acre tree farm near Oakland. There he spies a bumblebee hovering among the lavender flowers and rubbing leaves from tree plants. Some might be inclined to stay as far away as possible from anything that buzzes, particularly if it has a stinger, and appears to be hiding. For Herman, though, netting as many bees as possible on this late July morning was one of his first chores. He volunteers for Bumblebee Atlas, a conservation research project for the nonprofit Society of Conservation, or that's a very long name. Monitoring the bees on his property and reporting the data he collects. Herman is engaged in citizen science defined by the National Geographic Society as the practice of public participation and collaboration in scientific research to increase scientific knowledge. Through citizen science, the definition continues. People share and contribute to data monitoring and collection of programs. Herman may be working alone much of the time. The 24-year-old Webster County native and Missouri master naturalist belongs to a fast-growing tribe of citizen scientists, not only in the Ozarks but throughout the world. Whether they're trying to identify a species or just wanting to document what they've seen, high-resolution cell phone cameras and internet access to free apps like eBird or iNaturalist make it easier for people to share photos and information about the natural world in nature alone. reports over 300 million observations of plants and animals by more than 4 million users, plants and animals by more, or worldwide, sorry, there it goes. What's more, professional scientists increasingly rely on data from citizen scientists to map biodiversity, even the migration of paths of monarch butterflies. A November 2025 study in the journal Bioscience revealed that between 2017 and 2022, the use of iNaturalist data and peer-reviewed research grew tenfold. The article says, matching the growing and increase in iNaturalist observations, here that growing interest in what's broadly called community science is reflected within the Springfield Plateau Chamber of the Missouri Master Naturalist Program, a collaborative program with University of Missouri Extension and the Missouri Department of Conservation. In a presentation at July's meeting, Master Naturalist, at least coordinator of citizen science for the group, reported that between March and July, only 20 members had put in. Only 20 members had put in 506 hours, 13 projects, by which was so impressive and so cool, Bone wrote. For the local chapter, it was worth celebrating, she says. Local research scientists say that vast citizen science networks formed by volunteers makes widespread research possible. Chris Burnett asked, how are we going to catalog the biodiversity of the world? There aren't enough researchers to do that, says the retired Missouri State University biology professor at research has focused on developing ways to propagate and restore populations of endangered freshwater mussels. But you have volunteers of cameras added, current observers, I should say. Just as plants and animals seek out habitats to meet needs for food and shelter, so citizen scientists search for their own niches, learning more about environmental issues as they lean into their curiosity and interests. Take Courtney Matthews, for instance, the Master Naturalist Vice President of the Springfield Plateau chapter, has also been a night owl, she says, with a vision for bats and moths. That's one reason monitoring artificial light in the night sky for Dark Sky, Missouri, a chapter of Dark Sky International, sounded like a really fun opportunity for me to actually have a reason to go out, Matthew says. About once a month, 2 or 3 hours after sunset on a night when the moon isn't visible, she and a few other volunteers go to a field near Highlandville in Christian County to measure the light. Okay. Each takes measurements with a handheld sky quality meter device. The Matthews adds that cell phone cameras with apps like Dark Sky Meter, one of several apps listed on the Dark Sky International website, can also be used. Going to the same points on the field at every visit, they lift the meters, aim north, south, east, and west. Screens display the sky's brightness in astronomy units. The Dark Sky International site explains, and the higher the number, the less light pollution. Interesting. Where is the next part? Okay, there it is, I think. Results are then uploaded to looks like Globe at Night, an international citizen science program with the mission of raising public awareness about light pollution. Since Matthew started taking part in the project, monitoring about a year ago, she has noticed that the field she helped survey is usually dark, with astronomy units measurements as high as looks like 21, I think, close to an exceptional rating of 22. Okay. 22 or greater is good, Matthews explains. You're probably going to get to see the Milky Way. When artificial light around Springfield or Branson are bright, though, ratings have fallen as low as 17, even in the countryside between the cities. Like less than 18, you're going to be in New York, Matthew says. You're not going to see stars or anything like that. The 35-year-old Hollister native studied history and anthropology at the University of Arkansas. Not science, and now works at marketing and membership coordinator for Wonders of Wildlife, National Museum and Aquarium. Someone who cares about night creatures, though, Matthews says she has learned more than her volunteers at work about the negative effects of artificial light, which can disrupt the migration of birds and moths. It can also affect people who spend too much of their time indoors, she has learned. There's been some research about how it can impact our cardiovascular health, Matthews notes. Environmental overseers for living creatures that they can. Okay, I'm trying to find into this caption here. The time allotted for the. I think we'll just move on to the next one. For Brandy.
This is from the Springfield News Leader. This iconic Missouri restaurant was named the state's quirkiest by Ahmad Jawadi, USA Today Network. A restaurant's food offerings may be the main reason why most of us choose to visit, but it's not the only reason. With so many restaurants to choose from, things like location, reputation, and aesthetic can make all the difference in deciding whether to give a place a shot or return. Food site Tasting Table recently put on a list of the quirkiest restaurants in every state, highlighting restaurants across the country that stand out for their unusual settings, creative themes, and memorable dining experiences. In other words, the kinds of places that offer more than just a meal. Here's what Tasting Table selected as Missouri's quirkiest restaurant. And what came as a surprise to no longtime Missourian, Tasting Table crowned Lambert's Cafe as the quirkiest in the state. Founded in Sikeston in 1942, Lambert specializes in Southern-style comfort food with dishes like country fried round steak, chicken and dumplings, and barbecue pork steak. And while the main courses are indeed rave-worthy, what the restaurant is really known for is its rolls, or perhaps how they're delivered. Lambert's is famous for its tradition of tossing freshly baked dinner rolls to customers across the dining room, hence its nickname, Home of the Thrilled Rolls. The practice reportedly began on an extremely busy day in 1972 when then-owner Norman Lambert was walking around asking customers if they wanted any rolls. Given how busy the lunch rush was, an impatient customer waited on his roll, offhandedly remarked, "Just throw the thing." So Lambert acquiesced and threw them a roll, spurring other guests to join in on the fun and have their rolls be thrown too, and the rest is history. At Lambert's Cafe, you go for not a meal, but an entire experience. Along with fan favorites like country fried steak and fried zucchini, there are rave-worthy hot rolls. You have to be on your A game, though, as staff have been throwing them to customers since 1976. Say yes to toppings like apple butters and syrups, along with the fried okra. Lambert's has 3 locations, with 2 in Missouri and 1 in Alabama. Sikeston location, 2305 East Malone Avenue, Sikeston. Ozark location, 1800 West State Highway J, Ozark. And Foley location, 2981 South McKenzie Street, Foley, Alabama. Hours vary by location, so it's worth checking before you visit. Thank you for listening to the Blind Community Thrift Store radio reading service. Tune in every week, Monday through Friday, on the Blind Community Thrift Store's YouTube channel at 10 a.m. for more up-to-date news, from the Springfield News Leader, Springfield Daily Citizen, Springfield Business Journal, and 417 Magazine. Listen after we are live on the Audio Reader Network at www.reader.ku.edu. All broadcasts are played over KSMU's subcarrier airwaves at 67 kilohertz on 91.1 from 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. Monday through Friday. Contact Audio Reader Network for information on receiving a pre-programmed radio.